Make Walters your spot, not only before and after every game at Nationals Park, but Walters also is right by Audi Field, and DC United, the Washington Spirit, and the DC Defenders are all in season.
Here's the 1-1. Way outside, gets by Ruiz. Turner will dash in and he'll score. And it's 5-2 Philadelphia. Kerkering has the sign, the set at the belt, the pitch on the way. Swinging a long drive, right field. Castellanos going back to the wall, and it's gone! And the Nationals lead! Down to their final strike. Nathaniel Lowe, it's a fly ball right down the right field line over the fence. Finnegan deals, swinging a fly ball, shallow right. Cruz is waiting. He's coming in. He makes the catch. Coming home is Bohm. Cruz throw to the plate is off the glove of Ruiz, and the game's tied. Stop the winning run 90 feet away. Finnegan's 2-0 to Turner. In the dirt, Ruiz smothers it. Runner breaks for the plate. The throw to Finnegan's behind him, and the game's over. On the wild pitch, Stott scores the winning run.
I put Cabert in a really tough spot there, bouncing the splitter in there. He did everything he could to stop it, just bounced away.
And welcome to Nats Chat, along with MASNsports.com Nationals insider Mark Zuckerman, who was at Citizens Bank Park in Philadelphia. I'm Al Galdi, host of the Al Galdi podcast. The two worst teams in MLB's 2025 regular season so far in terms of relief pitching ERA are the Nationals and Philadelphia Phillies. And so we got what we got on Tuesday evening, a 7-6 walk-off loss for the Nats at the Phillies in Game 1 of a 3-game series. This was a game in which the Nats overcame a 5-2 ninth-inning deficit, but then blew a 6-5 ninth-inning lead as each team's bullpen lived up to its billing. The Nats in this regular season now 13-17. You can find us on X at Nats_chat. You can find us on Blue Sky at Nats Chat Podcast. You can email the show, natschatpodcast@gmail.com. We have a website you can check out too, natschatpodcast.com, at which you can buy a Nats Chat Podcast t-shirt. Coming up later in the show, an update from the voice of the Nats AAA affiliate, the Rochester Red Wings, Josh Whetzel, on why starting pitcher Cade Cavalli had an abbreviated outing on Tuesday evening. Some very good intel from Josh. The Nats on Tuesday evening, they scored 4 runs in the top of the ninth, but then allowed 2 runs in the bottom of the ninth. Mark, we in this game saw the best of the 2025 Nats and the worst of the 2025 Nats.
You know, Al, after seeing those 2 walk-off wins against the Mets over the weekend, you thought, okay, that's going to be the high point of the week. Like, there's no way they're going to top that. And yet here they were in position to do exactly that. The way they stormed back in the ninth inning here, the way Nathaniel Lowe hits that 3-run homer almost out of nowhere, it felt like, down to their final strike. And then they just take that and turn it into their most crushing defeat of the season. It was such a range of emotions here over that final inning. And, I come out of it with a couple of different thoughts. One is, and you want to take the optimistic view of it, I think it's okay to do this, to say they are really playing hard and playing well against top division rivals and have been in a position to win a bunch of these games and actually have won several of the games. I think it's okay to consider that aspect of it. The flip side of it is they have lost some games, this one being the worst of them, that were absolutely right there for the taking against good teams by not being able to finish things off, whether that means at the plate by stranding base runners, or whether it means on the mound by bullpen not being able to close things out, or whether it means defensively not being able to make plays when they need to. And we'll get to some of that from this one as well. And so because of that, the clubhouse after this game, to me, felt about as down as it has in a long time. And I'm actually taking that as an encouraging thing, because these guys believe that they should have won this game and that they should be winning more games. And they don't want to take consolation in the fact that they're playing tough and that they did rally to take the lead over the Phillies. They expect more from themselves. We'll see where it all goes from here. But in a certain way, I'm really encouraged at how these games have gone. It's fun to see them playing well and playing competitive games against these top division opponents. And yeah, it hurts when they lose. That's a good sign. If it hurts this much, I think that's a good sign.
Well, expectations are different this season, and a game like this, I think it's a good test of where you're at expectation-wise, because in 2022, 2023, 2024, a loss like this, the takeaway is, hey, the Nats battled, and they did some good things against a good team. In 2025, I think it's, gosh darn it, the Nats lost this game, and they're trying to win right now. And I think that's where a lot of people are at. Now, it did stand out to me that Davey Martinez in his postgame session with you guys did do the vintage, happy-go-lucky, ultra-positive Davey. He, in fact, gave us a proud of the boys.
I'm proud of the boys. They battled back. You're facing a beast of a starter. We kept it close.
Which he normally does not give after a crushing loss. He gave that early in his comments to you guys. I felt that was interesting because that's not exactly congruent with, this mantra that we were given going into the season of it's time to win, rebuild is over, etc. But yes, the Nats fought in this game, and there's just so much to this game in terms of what sticks with you. And there are so many moments looking back on the game that you almost forget about because of how the game ended up playing out. So look, the Nats bullpen struck again. I mean, I don't know how else to say it at this point. The bullpen happened. 4 Nats relievers combined to give up 4 runs in 2 2/3 innings. Jorge Lopez was good. He tossed a perfect bottom of the 7th with 2 swinging strikeouts. But Jose A. Ferrer was not good. We're coming to know this with Jose A. Ferrer. He's either really good or really bad. He was the latter in this game. 2 runs in a third of an inning. He began a Phillies 2-run 8th by allowing each of the first 3 batters he faced to reach base. Ferrer gave up a leadoff first pitch single by Johan Rojas to center field. Ferrer then gave up an opposite field RBI double by ex-Nat Trey Turner off the right field wall for a 4-2 Phillies lead. Although this came on a deep fly ball that right fielder Dylan Cruz did appear to misjudge. That was a fly ball that Cruz perhaps could have / should have caught. Not an easy play, but you'd like to think a makeable play for a guy like Cruz. Ferrer then gave up a bunt single by ex-Nat Bryce Harper to the right side of the infield. Harper bunting in and of itself, you would say, is a win for the Nats, but the result was a bunt single. And then Ferrer issued a run-scoring wild pitch for a 5-2 Phillies lead. Lucas Sims was next. He was good. Bottom of the 8th, faced 2 batters, got 2 outs. But Kyle Finnegan blew his 2nd consecutive save chance. He, in the bottom of the 9th, allowed 2 runs in 2/3 of an inning, gave up a leadoff opposite field single by Alec Boehm to right field on an 0-2 pitch, issued a walk of pinch hitter Bryson Stott. So you knew you were in trouble, but was Finnegan going to do what he has done, which is navigate his way out of a tough spot? Well, he gave up a 1-out RBI sac fly by Johan Rojas to tie the game, and this came on a really interesting play, a play on which Dylan Cruz made a great throw to home plate, but catcher Cade Ruiz botched the catch of the throw, and Finnegan issued a run-scoring wild pitch to end the game. We could spend an hour on everything that happened with the Nats bullpen in this game, but ultimately another bullpen implosion for the Nats.
There's so much to get to with this. Let's start real quick with Ferrer, because I do think it's important. We've kind of noted this, the on and off nature of his season so far. He's made 15 appearances now. In 9 of the 15, he has not been scored upon. In one of the ones that he was scored upon, he gave up 1 earned run. And now in 5 of the 6 games that he's been scored upon, he's given up at least 2 earned runs. I think that tells you a lot there about when he doesn't have it, he can't find it. And this is going to be critical for him over time to figure out. Yes, when he's good, he's really good. But he's got to learn how to do kind of what Finnegan had done for much of the first month of the season, is even when you get in some trouble, you get a couple runners on base, how do you get yourself out of it? And that is something he has not really been able to show that he can do. So that is a concern, number one. All right, let's go to the 9th. And I think we both have pointed out, and Kyle Finnegan himself had mentioned this a few days ago, that even though he was 9 for 9 in save opportunities, he knows he's been walking a tightrope, that he has put too many runners on base and kind of flirted with disaster, but found a way to get through it. Well, it caught up with him for sure in this one. The leadoff single, it's an 0-2 pitch, up and in. He wasn't going to get too upset about that. It's the walk that really bothered him. The last 2 pitches of that walk to Stott were nowhere close, overthrowing fastballs up and away. I think that bothered him most. The stolen base, a small but important moment here. With runners on first and third, he gives up the stolen base, and now the winning run is in scoring position, and that proved really costly a little bit later on. So there's that. And then ultimately, he almost gets out of it because of Dylan Cruz. That was a fantastic play by Cruz, a fantastic throw by Cruz. It's a two-hopper. Now listen, is it an easy catch for Cade Ruiz? No. It skips past him the second hop. Is it a play that you want and expect your franchise catcher to make to win the game for you? Yes, it is. Cabert took responsibility afterwards. He put it fully on his own shoulders. That would have been, as great as the home run was to give him the lead, if they had won the game on that play at the plate, on a double play with a perfect throw by the rookie right fielder, that would have actually been a bigger deal than Nathaniel Lowe's 3-run homer.
It was shades of Wilson Ramos at catcher. We remember our friend, the Buffalo, who used to have issues catching balls on throws, and unfortunately, we saw that there. What'd you think about the Trey Turner double that Dylan Cruz did not catch? Did you think that Cruz should have caught that?
Here he comes. Turner pops one in the air to right field. Long chase deep in the corner goes Cruz. On the warning track, leaps, can't get it. The ball off the wall. Carrying back toward the infield.
He didn't look comfortable going back on it. And this is, for those who don't know Citizens Bank Park, the right field wall is a video board. And it's got that kind of like chain link mesh fence in front of it to protect the lights on the scoreboard. And I don't know if that was him being worried about crashing into it or getting confused about where exactly he was. He looked like a guy who doesn't have experience playing here, which, of course, is true. You hope over time that he will figure that out. It's unfortunate. It's just another one of those. It's not an error. It's not a play that should have been made, but it's a play that could have been made. And you get enough of those over time, and it does come back to bite you. That's exactly what happened in this game.
So I mentioned these being the two worst bullpens in the majors. The Nats now for this regular season, dead last in the majors in relief pitching ERA, 7.47. The Phillies are the next worst team in relief pitching ERA, but at 5.25. It does stand out that even though these are the two worst bullpens, the Nats relief pitching ERA is more than 2 runs worse than the Phillies relief pitching ERA. Like when we talk about how bad the Nats bullpen has been, it's not just that it has been bad. It's not even just that it has been the worst in the majors. It's that the bullpen has been the worst in the majors by a sizable gap. More than 2 runs in terms of the ERA. Nats versus Phillies as the 2 worst relief pitching ERAs so far this regular season. It is rough, man. It is rough. And I'll tell you something else, too. Citizens Bank Park, I'm not saying it's Coors Field, but there is a Coors Field element to it to where you feel like a game is never over until it's over. There have been a lot of these wild Nats-Phillies games over the years at the sit, and we saw one of those in this game. And I think part of it is the dimensions of the ballpark. Like, you look at some of the homers in this game, they're not all, 400-plus foot homers. Like, there are some Citizens Bank Park specials that are available to you as a hitter when you play here, and we saw some of that on Tuesday evening.
Yeah, absolutely. It is a hitter's haven, kind of underrated hitter's haven. You don't think of it in the same category as, say, a Coors Field or even a Wrigley Field when the wind is blowing out. But the dimensions are quite small, especially to the gaps in left center and right center, because it's a straight line from the foul pole out towards center field. So, yes, and there have been way too many over the years games, maybe not quite as wild as this one, but in the same ballpark, literally, as it. And sometimes the Nats have won them. It's not like they always lose these games here. They've had some pretty rousing come from behind wins here, but it is definitely a ballpark that never feels like you're fully safe and secure. And just back to the bullpen real quick, I think the most disappointing thing of it is on a night when 2 of the guys who have been struggling so much, Lopez and Sims, were great. And it's the 2, in theory, most reliable relievers you have, Ferrer and Finnegan, who end up giving up the runs that cost you the game. So they can't even you fix one part of it and then you see the part that's supposed to already have been fixed fall apart. They can't just get it all together, on one given night. And that's really frustrating. But the more it goes on, the more they know it, the more the other team knows it. I mean, you go into late innings this game, I don't think anybody believed there's going to be a bunch of zeros posted by either bullpen. You knew this thing's going to go back and forth, and it turned out to be the ultimate roller coaster.
Hey, it's Al Galdi for Window Nation, which has a gift for Nats Chat podcast listeners that's as good as any James Wood home run. 4 free windows for every 4 windows that you buy, and you pay nothing until 2027. This offer is good through April 30th, so hurry. Schedule your free estimate at 866-90NATION or windownation.com and tell Window Nation that you want the deal that you heard about from Al Galdi on the Nats Chat podcast. There's no limit to how much you can save, and if you buy a house full of windows, Window Nation will include a free entry door. Window Nation partners with the top window manufacturers in the nation to build windows to their high-quality specs. Then Window Nation passes the savings on to you. You'll protect your home with some of the best windows that you can buy at a fraction of the price of other brands, and you'll increase the value of your home. 4 free windows for every 4 windows that you buy, and you pay nothing until 2027. The offer is good through April 30th. Call 866-90NATION or visit windownation.com and tell Window Nation that you want the deal that you heard about from Al Galdi on the Nats Chat podcast.
I'm excited to tell you about the designs Homage has cooked up for the 2025 MLB season. If you're as baseball obsessed as I am, you'll love the full roster of major league looks from Homage. Amazing comfort and deep cut designs that help fans show off passion for their favorite teams. Homage has a massive selection that tells the story of the greatest sport from its very beginnings. Deep logo history, coast-to-coast stadium tours, and the biggest players from every era. Legends never die at Homage. If you need your new shirt for going to a ball game, Homage has you covered with its most comfortable fan clothing, and it's available for fans of all ages. This year's collection hits dinger after dinger after tater after tater. Fleece, tees, bottoms, and more. And don't forget to check out the new starter jacket lineup, an iconic dugout look you don't want to miss. Heroes get remembered, but legends never die, and these looks go long, period. Check out the Homage MLB collection to find your team's coolest gear.
Just understand, who was pitching for them, and you didn't need to give up too many. But, I thought we threw the ball well. Obviously, those homers are going to drive me crazy, but I thought we threw the ball well. We just gave up those 2 homers.
Well, the Nats starting pitcher in this 7-6 walk-off loss at the Phillies on Tuesday evening was MacKenzie Gore. He allowed 3 runs in 6 innings, 6 strikeouts versus no walks. Gave up 5 hits, which were 2 homers and 3 singles. He issued a wild pitch. He threw 96 pitches, 61 strikes, 35 balls. Each of the 3 singles that he gave up was by Trey Turner. In terms of the 2 homers that Gore gave up, bottom of the first gave up a one-out first pitch, opposite field 2-run homer by ex-Nat Kyle Schwarber to left field, and Gore in the bottom of the third gave up a leadoff homer by Johan Rojas to center field. That was a legit shot. That homer went a projected 421 feet per Statcast. You can't say that Gore was great, but he certainly gave the Nats a chance to win. And, this strikes to walks thing with Gore really is standing out. 6 strikeouts, no walks. He, for this regular season now, has 59 strikeouts versus 9 walks. He is number 1 in the majors in strikeouts at 59. He really has cut down on the walks. He has cut down on putting guys on base. I know he gave up 2 homers in this game, but I thought that he was more good than bad. And man, he is racking up the strikeouts, and he is not issuing walks. And when you have that kind of a process, when you have those peripherals, you're doing some really good things. And Gore's doing some really good things right now.
Agreed. I think this is another great example of the kind of game that a year ago turns into 6 runs, and he keeps it at 3. Yes, he's upset about the 2 home runs. That's frustrating, of course, especially a first pitch fastball to Kyle Schwarber. I mean, he's going to swing at it. MacKenzie felt like he didn't execute it the way he wanted, but thought he could still get him with it. And I'm like, why would you ever throw Kyle Schwarber a first pitch fastball at this point? But it's what they did. But I want to give him so much credit for bouncing back from that. He's at 55 pitches after 3 innings. We saw from him the last several years how that didn't even mean he was going to get through the 5th and he's going to get up to 100 pitches. And instead, he ends up going 6 and doesn't even reach the 100 pitch mark. He goes the next 3 innings on 41 pitches. How does he do that? By not walking guys, by getting quicker outs. He's pounding the strike zone. It has been a huge thing in his development. Yes, you'd love to see more of the dominant gems from him like he had opening day against the same lineup. But I'll tell you what, the starts like this really, to me, mean more and tell me more about who he can be and who we may see by year's end he is. That's how you become an ace. You take a start like this, it doesn't start off well, and you still find a way to go 6 innings and give up 3 runs and not walk anybody. How often did Max Scherzer get into early trouble with home runs and still at the end of the day gave his team a chance? That's what this was from him. Yeah, you want more wins, you want more dominant 13 strikeout nights, sure. But you got to also be able to do this on the nights when you don't have the 13 strikeouts in you.
Yeah, and he is averaging right around 13 strikeouts per 9 innings. Like, he actually is dominant in terms of generating the strikeouts so far this season. The Nats offensively in this game did well, despite the Phillies starting pitcher doing well. Zack Wheeler, 2 runs, 6 2/3 innings, 7 strikeouts, 1 walk. But the Nats got to the Phillies bullpen, and the Nats ultimately for the game, 6 runs, 11 hits, just 1 walk, just 2 for 10 with runners in scoring position. But the 11 hits were 2 home runs, a triple, 3 doubles, and 5 singles. So 6 of the 11 hits were extra base hits. We will continue to harp on this. The Nats are hitting for more power. This is such an encouraging development this season. No power display was more crucial in this game than what we saw from Nathaniel Lowe. He is the Nats starting first baseman and number 5 batter, went 1 for 5, but the one, a big 3-run homer. Lowe in the Nats 4-run ninth, a 2-out 3-run homer to right field on a 1-2 pitch for a 6-5 Nats lead. C.J. Abrams had a big game. He is the Nats starting shortstop and number 1 batter, went 4 for 5 with a triple, an RBI double, and 2 singles. Abrams in the top of the 3rd, a 2-out triple to deep center field. Abrams in the Nats 1-run 7th, a 2-out RBI double to right field on a 1-2 pitch to cut the Nats deficit to 3-2. James Wood, he is the Nats starting left fielder and number 2 batter, 1 for 4 with an RBI double and a walk. He did strike out 3 times, but Wood in the Nats 4-run 9th, a 1-out full count RBI double to center field over the head of Philly center fielder Johan Rojas to cut the Nats deficit to 5-3. And Luis Garcia Jr., he is the Nats starting second baseman and number 3 batter, had a solo homer, the result of quite the plate appearance. Garcia in a Nats 1-run 6, a leadoff full count homer to center field to cut the Nats deficit to 3-1. The homer going a projected 420 feet per Statcast, and the homer concluded a 10-pitch plate appearance in which Garcia was down at 1.02. That was some piece of hitting by Luis Garcia Jr. We had Abrams, like I said, with a 4-hit night. Lowe with the mammoth homer. Some really good stuff from the Nats offensively in this game.
I'm glad you mentioned the Garcia homer because I'd honestly forgotten about, not that he hit it, but what the context of it was. As you said, a brilliant 10-pitch at bat against Zack Wheeler and then just a monster shot to center field that he had. So, I mean, there is some really good stuff here. Of course, the Lowe home run on, I mean, they're 1 strike away from losing the game. And he gets a pitch around his ankles. I don't know how he did this and turned that into a home run. And it's interesting that he said he really wasn't thinking about hitting for power in that spot. He's just trying to make decent contact and hit the ball in the air somewhere to the outfield and try to find grass. And maybe it's a run scoring single or something like that. He's not trying to be the hero there. And look at what the result is. And I think that the other hitters in this lineup can learn something from that, because the underrated part of this game that really cost them is that they took 4 at-bats during the game with the bases loaded. They didn't just go 0 for 4 in those at-bats. They struck out in all 4. You have Keibert Ruiz in the 3rd inning, bases loaded, 2 outs, and then the real killer, 8th inning, bases loaded, nobody out, and Josh Bell strikes out, Dylan Cruz strikes out, and Alex Call strikes out. In situations where it just takes contact, doesn't have to be great contact, no one could come through. Now, yes, they're facing Wheeler in the 3rd and Alvarado in the 8th, and those are tough guys to get the bat on the ball. But you have to, in those situations, know what is called for, how to swing at the right pitch, how to try to get some kind of contact and allow at least 1 run to get home. And if not for Nathaniel Lowe's heroics in the 9th inning, the failures in the 8th inning, I think, are probably the lead story of this game.
Very much so. That was maddening. I mean, you see this shaky Phillies bullpen on the ropes, bases loaded, nobody out, and that's 3 straight strikeouts, 3 straight swinging strikeouts. And, you know, you juxtapose that with what happened with Kyle Finnegan, where to begin that 9th inning, he has a batter down 0-2 and gives up a leadoff single. Here you had Alvarado, bases loaded, nobody out. What did he do? He converted on 3 consecutive strikeout opportunities. Finnegan unable to do that with a batter down 0-2, and that set off the chain reaction that resulted in the Nats losing this game. It is so crucial with relievers that they be strikeout guys. And Finnegan this season has generated strikeouts. It's not like he hasn't. But that's a classic thing you look back on and you say, man, you have a guy down 0-2. You need to be able to put him away. That is so crucial in these spots. And I think that's a big issue with this bullpen. These relievers don't generate strikeouts. They give up way too much contact, in addition to walking batters way too often, hitting batters with pitches way too often. And that's a major part of all of this.
LinkedIn Jobs are here to help small businesses make those crucial hires. Now, if you're in a big business, like let's say you're a general manager of a baseball team and you want to improve the bullpen, you could go to baseballreference.com and look up Adam Ottavino and Drew Smiley. But if you're a small business, you probably need LinkedIn Jobs. Here's how it works. Post your job on their new feature that can help you write job descriptions and then quickly get your job in front of the right people with deep candidate insights. Get qualified candidates. At the end of the day, the most important thing to your small business is the quality of candidates. And with LinkedIn, you can feel confident that you're getting the best. And finally, Nats Chat is here to help. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/natschat. That's LinkedIn.com/natschat to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply.
I'm excited to tell you about the designs Homage has cooked up for the 2025 MLB season. If you're as baseball obsessed as I am, you'll love the full roster of major league looks from Homage. Amazing comfort and deep cut designs that help fans show off passion for their favorite teams. Homage has a massive selection that tells the story of the greatest sport from its very beginnings. Deep logo history, coast-to-coast stadium tours, and the biggest players from every era. Legends never die at Homage. If you need your new shirt for going to a ball game, Homage has you covered with its most comfortable fan clothing, and it's available for fans of all ages. This year's collection hits dinger after dinger after tater. Fleece, tees, bottoms, and more. And don't forget to check out the new starter jacket lineup, an iconic dugout look you don't want to miss. Heroes get remembered, but legends never die, and these looks go long, period. Check out the Homage MLB collection to find your team's coolest gear.
Now the set. 3-2 pitch with Abrams running and a line drive, shallow left center field. It's going to hang up and actually goes over the head of Rojas and goes all the way to the wall. Abrams rounding third. He'll score easily as Wood is into second. Rojas misjudged it, and the Nationals have a run on the board. It's 5-3 Phillies.
Man, what a game. I mean, so many twists and turns, and it's only game one of this series. You feel like we may be seeing another game or two like this one as the week goes on.
Yeah, I think so. And again, I go back to the Mets series, and I know Monday's game was a disaster, but the first 3 games were highly entertaining. Obviously, the big dramatic walk-offs on Friday and Sunday. This one had that moment that could have been right there with them until the meltdown in the bottom of the 9th. And I want to take a step back and look at this from 30,000 feet above. And yes, it hurts that they lost this game, and they should feel bad about it, and they should feel like these are games that they should and need to win. But it's nice to see them competing with the Mets and the Phillies like this in a way that we just have not seen in several years. And you hope, if nothing else, as hard as this kind of loss is, you hope that they get something out of it that pays off down the road. And when they do face these guys again, whether it's later in this series or later in the season, that they find a way to convert those 1 or 2 key moments that we talked so much about and turn it into a win instead. I got a taste over the last week of what it could be like for this team to be in a pennant race again. This is as close as they've been in a while to playing what you feel like are meaningful division games that go right down to the wire, a hostile crowd here in Philly. And they are responding, just maybe not in every possible way, but they are responding. And you got to give them credit for that. It does feel like real progress. Now the key, turning more of these games into wins and finding a way to close them out when you have the chance.
And I think such a big part of competing with the powers of the National League East is being able to compete with these teams offensively. And while this Nats offense isn't perfect, it's so much better. And because the Nats can hit for power this season, you're seeing the Nats always have a chance. We're seeing the Nats be more competitive. And we're seeing the Nats go toe-to-toe with the Mets and with the Phillies from an offensive standpoint. We could not say that these last few years. It's a pleasure to be able to say that so far this season. You tell us what you think. Hit us up on X at Nats_chat. Find us on Blue Sky at Nats Chat Podcast. If you would like to sponsor the show, we'd love to have you on board. Email the man who runs the program, Tim Shovers. Our email address is natschatpodcast@gmail.com. All Nationals radio highlights on Nats Chat are courtesy of 106.7 The Fan. For Mark Zuckerman, I'm Al Galdi. We'll talk to you next time on the Nats Chat podcast. We on Tuesday evening had a developing situation with Cade Cavalli for AAA Rochester, but there is good news regarding what went down in what was an abbreviated outing for Cavalli. For the latest, we take you now to this special report from the voice of the Rochester Red Wings, Josh Whetzel.
All right, well, a little bit of a newsworthy day at Innovative Field in Rochester on Tuesday, mostly surrounding Cade Cavalli, the right-handed pitcher who is making a rehab start for the Red Wings on Tuesday night. His first start as a Red Wing since 2022, and his third injury rehab start of the season. The prior two had gone very well with no runs allowed. Cavalli started the game tonight with a couple of strikeouts in the first, walked a man but nothing else, and in the second inning, gave up 3 hits, including a 3-run homer from veteran Oscar Mercado. He did not, though, answer the bell for the third inning. Obviously, a lot of concern for that. The word from the clubhouse, though, is that it was merely fatigue for Cavalli, so not a big deal. He threw 36 pitches in the 2 innings, 24 were strikes. Fastball averaged 95.6 miles an hour. He did not get any swings and misses on the fastball. He threw his curveball more than any other pitch. 14 of his 36 pitches were the curveball. He got 6 swings on it, 3 misses. Also on his changeup, got 4 swings, 2 misses on the changeup. So the stuff looked pretty good, but apparently fatigue preventing him from lasting longer in the game. News-wise, earlier in the day, a couple of Red Wings were released, including former Nationals outfielder Stone Garrett, who was off to a tough start. Also, lefty reliever Garvin Alston was released by the Nationals. Wings have some players going through some ups and downs right now. Catcher Drew Millis 0 for his last 23 at the plate. Trey Lipscomb has done well since getting optioned back from the Nationals, 5 for 15 with a home run in that stretch. Catcher Andrew Kisner continues to perform well. He's batting .435 and getting on base at a crazy clip. His on-base percentage at about .550. Brady House leading the team with 4 home runs while hitting just under .300. Shortstop Jackson Clough doing well right now, hitting about .280 with an on-base percentage of around .380 while also running the bases well. And a relief pitcher to mention, right-hander Jack Sinclair, right now with a .251 ERA. He has only allowed 1 run over his last 6 appearances, spanning 9 2/3 innings. So there's an update for you from Rochester. Hopefully the next update will be filled with a bit better news. Here it comes, swinging a high drive to left field down the line toward the corner. This is way out there, and it is gone. Lipscomb with a towering shot to left up into the wind, and the Red Wings score their first run in their last 16 innings.